Hi, this is Bob Roepke again, Christmas in May 2022, with Matt Udermann. Matt is County Commissioner representing this area. This is in
Yeah,
your
yeah.
area, right?
hmm
Right. So, Matt, how long have you lived in Chaska?
I think we're 14 years. My wife, her whole life. So you
Yeah,
balance it out about half a life.
half a
Yeah.
life. Very good. And you're serving your first term as County Commissioner,
That's
right?
right.
How are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's enjoyable. There's a learning experience,
Yeah.
absolutely. But today's like today are the days that you want to do the job.
Yeah.
Because you get to interact with. You got the high school football team. You got the baseball team. My kid's out here her third year with Christmas in May.
Yeah.
Papa's here, the mayor of Chaska, and it's a great day. And these are the things that make it worth it when you're. Because there's some days that are pretty tough. You gotta,
Yeah.
you know that. You got to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
some tough decisions, have some tough conversations. But today are the great days.
Yeah.
Come on up. You're on camera.
There's another person to be interviewed.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the future of Chaska. Her name's Brooklyn.
Hi, Brooklyn. How
You
are
want
you?
to tell everybody where you go to school? You're on camera.
Where do you go to school?
She's
Macadamia.
Oh, academia. Oh, good for you. So, yeah, I mean, from a county perspective, sometimes people think, well, it's the city that builds community that people relate to, and so county government's a bigger layer above the city. Can you just talk about what community means at the county level? That still is important. Can you talk about that? Because I know you can.
I don't think you can talk about community without talking about the values. And I know we've had
Yeah.
many of these conversations.
Yeah.
And those values are based on human dignity and respect. Those values are based on a place of community. And what does that look like? And we've talked a lot about. We use different words, but we say the same thing. When you think about county, you think about roads and bridges. You think
Right.
about building and clearing.
Yeah.
But you forget the cultural element of the people.
Yeah.
And gosh, we're changing.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's moments like these that you bring people together that maybe ordinarily wouldn't be together, and
Right.
you get to learn about different things. I know one of the examples that we often use is when you were the mayor. Just as an example, there was 2% people of color in our community.
Right,
And now
absolutely.
our first grader comes into District 112, and it's 25% for the incoming kindergarten class.
Yeah.
That is a cosmic culture shift
Cosmic.
that we need to lean into and make sure that we're intentional about the social infrastructure. So it's events like these, it's interactions like these that forget the title and forget the position. You're actually doing the work. And the words I like to use is neighbor well. Are we neighboring well? And you use it as well, not just for the people that have affluence, but the people that are in the shadows of life that maybe fell on hard times. That the guy that we're helping out today, 40 years painting, his knees don't work great, his elbows don't work great,
As hard
and we're
as-
here to wrap community around
Right.
him, which 5 years ago he would have never thought he needed this or
Yeah.
wanted it.
Yeah.
So those are the moments of community, the values, and bringing people together for the purpose, regardless of where you come from.
It touches their heart. Tom, the owner, and his wife, Colleen, it touches them, their heart. But also all these people that come out and are working together that haven't met each other. How many of these people have you met before? Of course, you've been campaigning like a mad dog, so you probably have. But I mean, it's such a special experience for both sides of the equation, right?
I remember talking to Commissioner Ishii when I was asking what are the things that I should know when I was running for office. And one of the things he said is you're going to really lean into those pork chop dinners, fish fries, beef and sausage dinners, baseball games during a campaign cycle. And I took it a step further and I said it's not just a campaign cycle, it's a way of life.
Right.
Like we go to things because we enjoy doing those. Once in a while we're on camera, but a lot of the things that I do, that you've done, that Mayor Mark does, others have done, they're behind the scenes because there's a number of type of leaders.
Yeah.
They're the ones that show up in a campaign cycle and you never see them again.
Right.
There's the ones that show up when they need a vote or they need a yes or they need a whatever, and then you never see them again.
Right.
This is what community is, because the leaders that you want to vote for, the leaders you want to get behind, are the ones that make community 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, whether it's an election cycle or it's not. And yeah, we're on the camera today, and I'm happy to do this. But it's the moments behind the scenes that are happening of building community,
Right.
whether you have to or you don't. And yeah, we go to those fish fries because we want to.
Yeah.
We go to those baseball games because we want to. And
Yeah.
you see your neighbors, and people are going to be more apt to grab you and say, hey, I got a question on something.
Right.
And Dr. Scott with Public Health in Carver County, he says the worst time to exchange business cards is in an emergency. And we're coming out of 2 years in a pandemic. We're not wearing masks right now. We're outdoors. It's a fantastic time. And we're gathering business cards right now, more or less, building community so that if we need to lean on Tom or we need to lean on Bob or Mark or somebody else, we can do it because we've already built that underlying trust and that sense of community.
Right.
So.
And it's always time to build community, isn't it? You know, we're a changing place. You know, Carver County is changing itself. And so, you know, we think of 11 small towns with, you know, that sense of small town, sense of community is really important. Because we're growing and changing does not mean that you give that up, right? It just means you need to be more intentional, but more strongly committed to preserving that and building that even stronger, right?
That's right. I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to make a plug. You didn't want this, but I'm going to do it anyway. The areas that you can do that are plentiful. Yeah. We've got Taste of Chaska coming up. We've got the Chaska Cubs down at Athletic Park. Make an excuse to get out in your community. Go to that first thing, introduce yourself, grab somebody a soda, a beer, a popcorn, and make it your community. And if you can, if you want to zoom in, I want you to show the people that are doing the real work today, if you can. This gal's a mom of 2. She's getting away just for a little while. Helping the community while her husband's holding down the fort. She's part of our schools as well. You can probably see them back there. They're lifting stuff up and moving the trees away. Like, these are the people. Like, we're the figureheads sometimes. And sometimes, and you said this a lot, sometimes our biggest job is to be a cheerleader for our community. Absolutely. So I just want to be a cheerleader for our community. I want to be a cheerleader for the Chaska Cubs and Victoria Vics for Christmas in May and inspire other people. Get off the sidelines, reach out to a neighbor, come to these things. You're not going to regret it.
So when the Cubs play the Vics, you sit on one side half the game and on the other side, or do you?
I'm a Cubs fan. You can't back off of that. And I'm a Twins fan, even when they're losing, but they're winning now. So no, we'll wish the Victoria Vics luck. But when they're playing the Cubs, we're cheering for the Cubs.
Okay, very good. And you know, the one thing I appreciate, Matt, is that you talk about social infrastructure. I've tried to talk about it as human infrastructure. You know, it's really, we're talking the same kind of thing. And it is so important, the people side of being a healthy business, organization, community. You know, and never lose sight of that or a priority on that. And, you know, I really appreciate when you raise that up and you hold that at a high bar, a high level, a high priority. So thanks for doing that.
Well, it's easy to talk about being the healthiest, the happiest, all those things. It's easy to talk about being the most affluent, the most educated. It's easy to talk about we're the best small town and we help all people at all stages of life.
Right.
It's hard to do it when they're the people in the shadows of life, when it's a little expensive, when there's contentious issues that come up. But when we just came, we're this is a list that we want to be last on. We're the least when it comes to poverty as a percentage of all the 87 counties in the state of Minnesota.
Right.
3.4%.
Yeah.
We were at 5% 2 years ago. 3.4%. And you look at what that delta was. It was the civic organizations, the church organizations, the not-for-profits, the neighboring well, to say, I'm going to pick up a little slack, especially during this period. I hope that sense doesn't go away, even when we go past the pandemic. But it's lifting up your neighbor when they're in need. And most people don't even know about those micro things that are going on right now.
That's right.
Does it happen in our community? It does. And we're the best, but we can also be the gold standard for other communities.
There's always the opportunity. Right, you bet. You and I could talk about this for the rest of the day.
And we do.
There's work to be done.
And we do.
Cool. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for having us on. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.